All right, that's brand new material from Circle to Circle, a song called Killing Death from the brand new Seasons Will Fall release. And on the phone right now, we have the one and only Zak Stevens of Circle to Circle. Zak, how you doing, man?
Good, Chris. Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you back on the show, Zak. Always good to see another Circle to Circle release come by, and seems like we kind of get that fairly often, don't we? You're almost like a calendar. Every 2 years, there's a new Circle to Circle record.
Well, it's been sooner than that most years. I think we were putting them out. There's been one that I think was maybe a year and a month to the date, and then some others have been about a year and a half. This is the longest we've waited between albums, actually. So you got a good 6 or 7 months longer than we've ever waited. So sure. I don't know. Maybe it seems like it's regularly every 2 years, but this was the longest between albums.
Excellent. Well, Zak, listening to the new one, Seasons Will Fall, the one thing that immediately jumped out at me personally is this is the first time where, as a listener, I didn't listen for Savatage type sound. I mean, obviously that's where you're most well known for, but this record really doesn't have that as much. It's very much more pulled away from that to where you're really kind of establishing more of a progressive-esque type of a sound than the Savatage type of a sound. Was that something that you worked on getting, or is that just the natural progression of you as a songwriter, or what?
Well, great question. I think there was a lot of deliberation in the very beginning that we were going to, that it got stated by guys in the band, gosh, wouldn't you guys just want to go out and make this deliberate Sabotage, I guess, celebration album, or like a Sabotage type esque thing. And then that was in the very beginning, stuff like that. And then we go, well, geez, now we've come into our own so much with the sound of the circle to circle thing, that we could just kind of just let it flow and see what happens, and see what we can do, and take a little more time and try to really have a widely stretched musical diversity that we've never seen before on a Circle to Circle album. So there was different schools of thought coming in. We thinking about the dedication to Savatage, thinking about, we even lost Ronnie James Dio, this past year, and he was one of my main influences. So I kind of wanted to have a little bit of a dedication to him on there, and that's where that song Epiphany to me really was like a dedication of me personally to Ronnie. So there was a lot of different things coming into play, but in the end, I think it has a lot to do with the musical evolution of the band in many, many ways, stretching out, trying to stretch the parameters of what we already knew with our sound, and still, keep that intact, grooving, kind of thing down. So, in the back of our mind, sure, it could have been 3 or 4 different things, but to me, it's kind of what this album is everything that I've always wanted to finally have with a Circle to Circle album.
Sure. And it's interesting that you say that, because one of the things that I noticed from listening to it is it doesn't only pull away from the entire catalog, and as well as the Savatage comparisons, but the new record really seems like it pulls into some very different directions, even from the last record, from Consequence of Power. It just seems like you found a different, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a musician, but more of like a galloping type of a groove this time than on anything in the past. Is that just kind of natural or not?
Well, I think it's somewhat natural. Now, in other respects, like I said, we purposely wanted to go in and stretch what we had done, and have a record that really, across the board musically, offers more. And that was kind of a long-term goal of ours for the album. Now, as compared to the last album, to me, that was kind of heavy. That's a lot of the heavier grooves and riffs that Circle to Circle can do. But I didn't want to come right back and say, hey, stay heavy or heavier. I mean, that's just a general term. What I wanted to have was some great music across the board, and in a few ways we were able to stretch, what we could offer musically, and just broaden the horizon there. was that we wrote with some more people this time. You know, our new guitar player, Christian Wentz, on Diamond Blade. We even had Mitch Stewart, our bassist, his son, who's 19 or 20 years old, Paul Michael Stewart Jr., Paul Jr., even wrote with us on a song called End of Emotion, which I think is a song that really stretches what we do. Another, Craig Blackwell, our executive producer, a guy that I met about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. As soon as I met him and looked at what we could do with the production, I knew immediately that we were going to have what we had envisioned to have for a Circle to Circle album. You know, and he contributed on songs Without a Sound and Downshot.
Okay.
So we've done something we haven't done in the past. We got some friends and said, hey, help us write some. Me and Mitch are tired of writing everything, right. Which we had done for quite a few albums. So that really fired me up. You know, that's exciting, and Mitch was totally fine with it. You know, I said, look, we're going to take this thing to the next level. So I just want to, you know, the goal, my personal goal, like I said all along, was to make the album that I have gone. It's 10 years for Circle to Circle this year.
Okay. Wow.
So with the band being around that long, I said, look, we have found that album that I have envisioned, and we want to make that happen this year. And that was the goal from the beginning. The first two songs we worked on was Seasons Will Fall, which is the title track, which happened to, you know, be the title track. You know, it was the first one, but you never know. And Dreams That Never Die. That was the first two songs we worked on, and believe me, we started working on them 2 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, we started writing stuff immediately after Consequence of Power, but we knew we had to do a lot of work, you know, and come a much longer way, you know, than that album. So from the very beginning, we just said, hey, let's make Seasons Will Fall be the album that we've always envisioned. And that's what we worked so hard to do. And I'm happy. And when I listen to it now, it is really that record. So I'm just happy to finally get the one that my heart personally wanted.
Sure.
You know, for all this time. You know.
Right. Definitely. Now, Zach, one of the things that is, it kind of ties into what you're saying about working with you know, new people as far as the production and stuff. You obviously had a major turnover in the lineup with Christian and Adam and Henning all joining the band now. How did that change the dynamic, you know, both of writing and recording?
Well, you know, in writing-wise, it really just kind of brought some new, you know, really some good outside looking in perspective to it. This gave these guys a chance to say, wow, you know, I've got some stuff that just never would fit with anything I was personally doing, but with you, with this, you know, type sound you've always had stemming from Sabotage, maybe, you know, or the Circle to Circle sound, they were really excited to, you know, to offer some things to us, and, you know, that was good. So that perspective helped a lot. Bill has been with us before.
Right.
And it's just a friend coming back.
Okay.
So that's good. and now to have Bill back in the permanent situation when he had really only toured with us before, when we were just trying to struggle to say, where do we want to be with this lineup? You know, where do we want to be with everything? This is really where we wanted to be. So we took some extra time to get it right. This is the lineup and everything that I've been trying to work towards for all the years of the band, really. We got Christian, who's really been on tour with us before as a videographer, documenting tours, and just coming along as our great friend. So it's great to have him. He's been a great friend of the band for a long time. Now to have him in the band, everybody's elated about that. We got in Henning, I met not at this year's Wacken, of course, because we played, but the year before at Wacken, the largest metal festival in all of Europe. We met, and he's like, you guys need a keyboard player, man. What's up? And I went, yeah, we really do. Would you think about doing it? You know, what do you think? And hey, probably 2 or 3 months later, he was in the band.
Wow.
You know, working on this album. He played everything on the album.
Okay.
And Adam coming along, I had spoken to several drummers, was working with several of them, and I got Adam's name came through. I think Christian really brought Adam's name up, and I said, well, all right, what's up? So I started talking to Adam. Before you know it, then that was done. So, yeah, it was quite a bit of a turnover, but it was really something that we needed to work toward to get the lineup to where we envisioned the level of playing that we always wanted, and I don't think we were going to stop till we got all those slots filled and to get to where we knew we could get,
Sure.
And that's another thing this album represents. It just represents getting to where we had wanted to get for several years, but just couldn't quite get there till now,
Right, sure. Well, obviously with that kind of turnover, does it make the excitement for you as the leader of that band? Does it bring even more excitement to the project, almost like it's starting a new project? I mean, obviously it's still the same basic concept musically as what you've been working toward, but it is a whole new element with, I mean that's a whole lot of new ideas and new playing and new adjusting to each other on stage and everything else. Does it really refresh you as a musician in the creative process?
Yeah, it really does. It's exciting when you see the dynamic, what's going on between these guys. We've been playing together longer. The way it turned out, as far as everybody joined the band, we've been playing live shows together a lot longer than, let's say, album appearances.
Okay.
By the time you see these guys pictured on Seasons Will Fall, we've already been playing together about 6 months, out, live all around the world. So we've had a chance to see that, dynamic between all the new guys, and it's just incredible. And it's another good thing. You know how you go see bands all the time and you can hear things going on, like they got these tracks going, and you can just hear the additional vocals, or you can hear. We had to do that for a while, and that made me very unhappy, and that was a reason that I kept continuing to seek, to get the lineup where I wanted it. I don't like using it. Now we don't have to. It's brilliant. We got 5 singers in the band.
Okay.
And believe me, we got the vocals covered. We got 3-part harmony, 4-part harmony. We got counterpoint vocal. We play chants from Sabotage live.
Wow.
We just did it for the first time in Dubai at the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
And our first trip to the Middle East. So there's really nothing we can't do, and that's very exciting to me. You always had I always had some kind of issues where I couldn't pull something off in the past, whether it be a Sabotage tribute thing or any kind of thing related to Circle to Circle that we had done on an album. Now I don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm very happy. I've never been happier, from that standpoint. I got 5 singers, 6 guys in the band, keyboards live. It's just really what I've been working towards for a long, long time. So, yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Excellent. Well, Zach, a question I've always had for not necessarily you, but for guys like you that gain their fame in one band and then move on to doing their more or less their own project, their own baby, is how does it affect the second project? Like for you, it would be Circle to Circle. I know there's obviously Wicked Witch and stuff before Sabotage, but really most people know you from Sabotage. Then you moved on to Circle. How does that impact you when the music doesn't sound exactly like what they've known your voice for? Are people automatically receptive, or do people actually fight with you for a couple of years to not accept it because it doesn't sound like what they know you for?
Well, I haven't had too much of the fight, surprisingly. People still think that I sound like I do, whether I'm singing the Sabotage music or Circle to Circle. As a matter of fact, the biggest thing was the comparisons of Circle to Circle to the overall band of Sabotage. How does this compare?
Sure.
What's the differences? Sometimes it's hard to discern those differences in the first couple of albums. I don't think it was till the third album, Burden of Truth, till we started seeing where people started saying, okay, I'm seeing a difference now, which I can understand that. Heck, some people couldn't even tell the difference.
Right.
I had fans that never had heard of Sabotage, which we've gained many, many, many.
Right.
That have to be back now of Circle to Circle fans that have to be coached and given history lessons to even know who Sabotage is.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is another thing that's strange to see.
Sure.
I'll get people email, I got all the Circle to Circle records, man. Is there anything else back there? And I go, yeah, you ever heard of a band called Sabotage? No, but what's up? Then I have to get there. I go, hold on a minute. let me tell you, then I have to coach these people on all the back catalog of Savatage.
Right.
It's so strange what you get out there in the music consuming public. I didn't have much of a fight about, hey, it's all the same. And as the years go on, geez, we're in our 10th year. You get less and less people remembering even where I came from. Heck, we'll play Sabotage songs in our set, of course. We'll do Edge of Thorns, some big, Sabotage hits or whatever. Sometimes we even go out and play entire Sabotage albums.
Okay.
Like at Bakken, we did the entire Wake of Magellan album as a tribute.
Wow.
We only had one Circle to Circle song at the end. We did Watching in Silence and said good night.
Wow. That must
You don't know what I'm going to be expected to do.
Right.
There's so many different packages out there. Promoters will ask you to do the wildest things, and it all stems from your history, in the business. Me coming from Sabotage. I don't know on festivals in Europe, I don't know if I'm going to be showing up one night doing the entire Edge of Thorns album, or if I'm just going to be playing a regular Circle to Circle set with a few, big songs from Sabotage in the encore.
Right.
See, it's wild.
Right.
In my situation, yeah. I don't even think I've even figured it out myself yet.
Nor should you, because that's you have to admit that's part of the reason that you do that is because that is truly what the fans want. I mean, it's no secret the fans have been clamoring since the end of the Magellan Tour that they want more Savatage. So there's no secrets to that. And it's interesting you do that, and I know John Oliva's done that as well with John Oliva's Pain, where he plays, large portions of it, and Caffrey has too with his solo stuff. So, it is definitely, and I would say more than probably any other band that has gone their separate ways, it is interesting how strong the history has remained with all of you guys toward the Savatage project.
Yeah, because the music is just unbelievable. That kind of music, it stays with you, especially if you're one of the people who got to be lucky enough, as we were, to perform it.
Right.
You just don't want to let it. It's not the kind of music that just begs to be put in the closet somewhere. Right. I think that's the reason all of us have gone out and had tribute shows and things like that, and people get a chance to hear some, the real guys singing the stuff. That's the reason I might go sing entire, albums of the 4 I was on, because they want to hear the original singer singing it.
Right.
People are now telling it, really, the way it is working with the Sabotage music is it's not so much just the fans that bought it at the time. They're bringing their kids to the show now.
Right.
And the kids are like teenagers or maybe 20 years old.
Okay. Sure.
So they're trying to introduce their kids to it in Europe. I meet so many families. I'm meeting all the kids now. I'm meeting the teenagers now.
Okay.
I mean, the fans are the people my age. My daughters are 15 and 9.
Right.
Now, many people had kids way before I did.
Sure.
That are my age range that were Savatage fans. So they're 20. So I'm meeting all the second generationers now. That's who's getting introduced to Sabotage. But it's good that we're not letting it just go away, because now the kids get to actually go hear them at festivals, because a lot of the festivals are more family-oriented in Europe.
Right.
It's not like wild stuff where the parents might not, the kids wouldn't even want the parents to go.
Right.
It's a little bit different over there.
Definitely.
They don't mind hanging out with the dad. He'll be drinking beer somewhere, and the kids can be drinking beer somewhere else. It's not that big of a deal.
Right, definitely. Well, let me ask you this, Zach, and this is always has nothing to do with that. I'm sort of transitioning here, but
That's all right.
got lost for a second. But
that's partly my fault.
It's all good. One of the guys in your band I am a humongous fan of, and that's Bill Hudson. I thought Celador was by far the most underrated, short-lived band I think I've ever heard. And,
I hear you.
And it was certainly because of his playing that I thought that. And it is very interesting that you've brought him into your band and he's playing almost a completely different style than what he did with Celador. Is that his progression? Is that you molding him to your project, or is that kind of the amalgamation of the two of you working together?
Well, really, you're right. It's stylistically very different for him. What we have going so far in the history of me and Bill is we met at Waffle House in 2006.
Okay.
In Atlanta after Circle to Circle played the Prog Power USA, which we're playing again this year, by the way.
Excellent.
Now, he said he was 13 years old. No, he was 10 years old No, I'm sorry, 13 years old when he was in Brazil and saw Sabotage perform in 1998 at the Phillips Monsters of Rock Festival, which is one of the festivals we did in Sabotage in Sao Paulo.
Okay.
So that's how the conversation started. So he already had been influenced by Sabotage, one of his favorite bands from the age of 13.
Wow.
So even though you're hearing all that speed that he's got in Celador and all that different style, he's always been influenced by Sabotage. So when he was able to come and play with Circle to Circle, he just basically said, hey, I'm going to play this stuff now. I'm just not going to stop. I'm just not going to be a fan of it now. I'm going to play it.
Okay.
There's the second stop. You actually transitioning your playing, and then your style gets affected overall because you're in a new band. You're learning all the Sabotage. You're learning all the Circle to Circle.
Sure.
So, yes, I think that had an effect on it. He's always going to be Bill, what he learned to play, and just the fantastic stuff he does. You'll never take that away, the initial influences as a child. And then coming and working on the new album with us, playing with us for almost 2 years on the road in 2009 and 10.
Okay.
Being a part of the band, being out again, changing some lifestyle changes he made. Very, very positive stuff.
Okay.
Which gained my attraction, and hey, I want to work with anybody who can go out and make a lot of good lifestyle changes for yourself.
Sure.
So he did that. I was so proud of him. I said, look, of course. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, did you know what I'm doing? And I said, yes, I do. Do you want to be back in the band? It was like one second of the conversation.
Oh, wow.
Then he goes, really? I said, yeah, you're in. Come on. We don't have time to waste. I got a vision here.
Right.
We have some stuff to fulfill. He goes, good. I want to be, helping you with that. And it was a family. We've always been family, and it's just that he's much closer and right back in the fold. He'll always be part of my family no matter what, whether he was in the band or not. But I'd rather him be in because he's the perfect, fit for what we're doing. So it's been what I'm saying? It's been a few transitional stops in that metamorphosis of his playing, but it all had to do with, there's been a while to get used to it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely, man. And it definitely shows. And like I said, it's just such a, obviously me outside looking in, I see Celador, I see Circle to Circle, and it's like, wow, these are two very different projects with the same guy, absolutely shredding, but in different ways. So it's interesting to hear how it has developed,
Yeah, and hey, that's a tribute to Bill. He can play many different styles. He can stylistically transition, from that. And he still works with other bands too from time to time. So hey, he's even got more out there. He's just that kind of player. Just as happy to be back with Bill, and happy to have him really embedded this time.
Sure.
And able to really, help us with going forward, because it's going to be some good stuff for the band, and I want him to be a part of it, definitely.
Well, certainly the good stuff is on the new album, Seasons Will Fall. It is, when is it exactly it comes out? The end of the month, is that right?
Yeah, it'll be the 29th in the States.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, and the 25th in Europe. I think records come out on Friday in Europe, and they come out on Tuesdays here.
Okay, so we get it last.
Yeah, but only about 4 days later.
Yeah, that's all good. Well, so then what follows for 2013? Touring and promoting, and obviously you said you're doing Prague Power. What exactly is going on with the band this year?
Well, we're going to be we'll do a few dates in the States in April, the Midwest, a little short tour, I think 7 or 8 shows or something. Then we'll come home. We head out to Europe for the month of May. We start out playing the Wacken. It's a cruise ship show.
Okay.
That's put on by the same people that does the Wacken Wacken Open Air.
Okay.
In Europe, it's called Wacken Full Metal Cruise.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to play that. We got 2 sets on that. Actually, one is a Sabotage tribute set. They've asked for Edge of Thorns.
Excellent.
And then the next one will be a Circle to Circle, best of set.
Sure.
So they've got 2 sets going on that ship, which a lot of times they have 2 shows for each band. So we'll start out with that, and that leads into a complete European tour going through Germany, France, Spain, Italy, maybe a few shows in Holland and stuff like that. Come home and be heading straight to Brazil.
Wow.
So June is South America.
Okay. Excellent.
So then, looking to the summer when we get home, that's when we'll start cranking it up in the States. So part of the September 5th playing, Atlanta for Prog Power USA, that'll be part of a U.S. tour.
Okay.
So we're kind of going to have two pieces of the tour, one at the beginning of the year, one at the end, and you never know.
Right.
If things go really great with the album, I'm sure that schedule could change. That's just what we have just right now.
Excellent. Well, it definitely sounds like you're going to be busy. Obviously, the new album, once again, is called Seasons Will Fall. And, Zach, to wrap this one up, why don't you pick a song from the album and tell us a little story about it so that we can introduce the people to something new that they haven't heard yet.
Okay. Well, let's go with Epiphany.
Okay.
Have you got that one?
I have the whole record.
Okay. Now, this is a real kind of an epic kind of song. It's 9 minutes, but it listens more like 5 minutes to me. It just kind of seems to, there's just so much going on that I told them, hey, if you're going to make a 9-minute song, you better make it listen like 5 minutes. And that was the challenge. So we said, okay, we'll try to get it done. This is really kind of a tribute. If there's going to be a tribute to Savatage, this is the song that will be the closest one on the record to it. I also made this my personal tribute to Ronnie Dio.
Okay.
And it's a big epic on the album. It's got some vocal pops that almost sound like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young thrown in there somehow in the Witch's Brew.
Wow, very cool.
But yeah, and it's just a really cool song. It starts out with the recording of a thunderstorm that's actually recorded outside. That gives you the actual thunder and the rain, and it's recorded in the storm, so it has all the low end, and it kind of comes in with a storm and goes out with a storm. So enjoy that. It's Epiphany.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It is Circle to Circle right here on your Classic Metal Show.